Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 22. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby, Fawcett. Joby, are you still under snow?
Well, Joe, we dug out a little bit last night, and then we were able to get up early this morning, and I will not fib to your listening audience, Joe. The snow thrower is what I use. I'm not a shovel person. Certainly up here where I live, it's extremely difficult to shovel a driveway of the length that I have. So I did mine and my neighbors. My neighbors was out of town, and we got them both done. And now we're just trying to get all the content done for the Times-Tribune and hopefully be able to recover quickly enough to get back into action tomorrow.
Absolutely, and get sports moving again. Hopefully, they clear these streets and everything. But
Joe, that's a difficult task for these because a lot of the schools, obviously, these side roads can't be easy to clear.
yeah, you're not kidding.
And we can't be putting people in jeopardy here. So let's just hope everybody's erring on the side of caution, Joe. And also, I'm going to need a day to recuperate from the agonizing defeat of the Los Angeles Rams yesterday. And I know we're going to talk more about it later. And as we do, I'll be wiping away tears throughout the broadcast.
Joby, my heart goes out to you. That was kind of a brutal game.
There's worse ways to lose, Joe, but we certainly found a different way.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And we will certainly get to that. But right now, we're going to throw it to our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Nathan Schuman of Honesdale Wrestling. Nathan, how we doing, man?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us. Just to let everyone know what Nathan did last week, he won his weight class in the Coal Cracker Invitational at Lehighton High School, going 6-0. He had 2 first period pins, 3 tech falls, and a major decision away to the title. He also had a tech fall in the Hornets 65-12 win over Valley View, which locked down a 3rd straight league title for Honesdale. He's now 36-1 this season, ranked 3rd in the state, according to PA Power Wrestling. Nate, how, it's weird because it's a long season, but you're wrestling year round. How are you feeling at this point in the season, as a wrestler, and, how do you kind of prepare for what's coming forward in the postseason?
I feel really good with where we're at. I have a few things that I need to continue working on to keep improving to reach our goals, but I'm very happy with where I'm at with my wrestling. I feel great with where I'm at and just excited to keep this season going and keep going with this run that we're on.
Nathan, I listened to Joe rattle off your accomplishments from Saturday, and here I am complaining about having to do a little bit of snow blowing. When you have a day like that, it's a combination of your physical skill and your mental toughness as well. How challenging is that for you to balance both of those things when you're in a huge invitational event like that?
It's definitely tough, staying in hotel rooms, not getting to sleep in your own bed and that kind of stuff, keeping yourself mentally in check and watching your weight, that kind of stuff. It's tough when you're not at home at your home gym or staying in your own house to keep these things in check and keep performing at the top level that I need to perform at. But I've been doing this for so long that I've gotten to a point where I just kind of adapt to where I'm at and just make the best of what is in front of me.
Yeah, definitely. Nate, just to piggyback off that, obviously to be at the level that you're at, obviously we have a bunch of wrestlers in the area who are, they're working constantly, they're wrestling constantly. I mean, kind of take me and Joby through, like how much do you wrestle? How much do you train? Like what is a typical day for you as when it pertains to wrestling?
I'm up at 6 o'clock every single morning for a lift or a bike workout or something. Then going to school, and right after school we got high school practice from 3 to 5. And then I drive or my dad drives us 45 minutes over to Avoca to Mad Assassins Wrestling Club every single night for 2 hours over there. We practice over there from 6:30 to 8:30. All homework, eating dinner, that kind of stuff is done in the car, and get home, pretty much shower, and go to bed. And every single night, 5 days a week, 45 minutes each way, and I've fallen in love with it, and it's what I look forward to every day. It's what I want to do. And I know it's helping me reach my goals, even on the days that you don't want to do it. You know that you got to do it if you want to reach where you want to reach.
So, Nathan, you're obviously an extremely accomplished wrestler at Honesdale, and I'm interested to find out. I know they have a great wrestling tradition there at that school, but how were you introduced to the program and the sport, and how much has this culture at Honesdale helped to shape you as a wrestler as well?
I actually didn't wrestle at Honesdale in junior high. I just did all club stuff. My dad started me with wrestling when I was 4, so I wrestled the Honesdale Elementary program when I was younger, but I've just kind of been surrounded with it my whole entire life and traveled all over the country from a young age doing it. So it's just kind of helped me fall in love with it, and I know that that's what I want to do. And the Honesdale team is amazing. These guys are so welcoming. It's like a family, and we all are there together at every single thing, supporting each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk a little bit more about, obviously you guys have duels coming up on Wednesday. I don't want to put the cart before the horse because, but you guys have been so dominant that, you're probably looking at another ticket to states when you reach Saturday's final. What have you guys kind of learned from last year as a team going into this year and, wrestling this season?
We pretty much are just going in the mentality, like every match, we're not changing a thing. We're just wrestling our style and just going to dominate everyone as much as we can. But at the same time, we're not looking past an opponent ever and just saying, or going into a match knowing we're going to win. Like, there's always a chance that you can lose every single match. So you have to go into every match with the same mentality that you have to go earn it if you want to win it. And it's not just going to be handed to you. And it's going to be the same thing this week. We got to go make our way to the finals and punch our ticket there, and then we can work our way through that match. And we got guys that we know might lose matches, and it's that team aspect of it, saving as much bonus point as you can and saving team points from the other team and that kind of stuff that this team is continuing to work on. And we understand that it's a whole team thing, so some guys might lose their matches, but we got to stick around and help each other through it and focus more on the team aspect of it in these duels.
Nathan, so I'm curious, for our listening audience at home or online, they may not realize that you're a little bit of a lower weight wrestler, right? But there is some discipline that you have to maintain your weight class, no matter where you're wrestling, for anybody. I'm curious as to if you have any kind of favorite food that you have to deny yourself, and how strict is your diet to stay where you want to be?
Oh, especially right now, coming to the postseason here, it's cutting down a lot of, like, there's not as much, like, snack food or that kind of stuff in it, and it's a lot of just your light carbs and trying to manage how much my meals weigh and how much my calorie intake and all that stuff is, and getting extra workouts to get weight off, and so I can eat a little bit more and feel a little bit better, but still keep my weight in check. So it's all the time, especially when you're cutting weight, you got to be watching that diet and the intake and that kind of stuff.
So Nathan, real quick, so you have a different type of lifestyle you have to have as opposed to your, the kids you hang around with, and certainly a normal teenage upbringing. I mean, Joe Baress, when he was young and an aspiring athlete of Holy Cross, he used to hit the Burger King and McDonald's after a game. You can't do that.
No, I usually I usually, right before matches, I'll weigh in and then I'll eat some white rice and and ground turkey.
That
And
sounds delicious.
that's my dinner for the night with broccoli. And that's pretty much my pre-match or after-match meal every single tournament or match.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So Nate, obviously last year you had a phenomenal freshman season, district title, regional title, qualified for states. You end up winning your first match at states and then lose the next two. Did you learn, what did you kind of take away from last year's state tournament that maybe you learned from?
Uh, it really showed how much of a grind this whole season is because I had been doing everything I am this year, the whole entire season. And then I got to states and I was undersized last year by close to 10 or 15 pounds compared to a lot of these guys. And I got to the state tournament on top of being underweight. I then got strep throat at states. So you just gotta stay healthy and get as much rest and that kind of stuff as you can throughout the season to keep your health and wellness up as well, keeping the wrestling and all that in check and keep training through it all.
Now, Nathan, you are a guy who wrestles, as you said, pretty much the whole year. When and how do you give your body a chance to recover? I mean, last year, clearly, you got sick, so you had to take some time off, but will your schedule kind of loosen up a little bit after your high school season?
Not really, actually. It'll probably actually ramp up a little bit. We have a few national tournaments coming up right after the high school season. 2 weeks after, we have a folk style national tournament down in Virginia Beach. So we got a few more national tournaments, and then heading through the middle of May into April, it'll slow down a little bit, and then we ramp back up once freestyle season starts again. So there's periods throughout the late spring, early summer, and then the end of summer after Fargo Nationals and Freestyle Nationals and all that it slows down a little bit, but it's really just trying to manage stuff as you work through it. If you have minor injuries or that kind of stuff, if you can take a few days off, let those recover, but just trying to manage every little thing. You're going to have bumps and bruises in this sport, so you got to just try to manage the little stuff and try to prevent major injuries.
Absolutely. Nate, obviously in December, I saw you and Dominic both win Lackawanna League titles. And I know that Dominic hasn't wrestled a couple matches, but, tell me about, how, what it's like having, not only Dominic, but Lukas as well. And being such a wrestling family with, like you said, your father introducing you to it at age 4.
Yeah, it's a whole family thing. We got all of us go to Addison, so we're all going over to the club every single night to train. We all love it. Dom's battling some injuries right now, which is why he's been out, but it's amazing being able to have them to train with all the time. Lukas is a little bit smaller, so it's hard to train with him, but when Dom and me are both healthy, it's amazing having someone pretty much the same weight as me to be able to train with that has the same or very similar goals as I do, so we can push each other to the limit and get each other better every single day.
So, Nathan, let me ask you, as Joe pointed out earlier, we're getting to the postseason here with the District 2 duels, and we have the individual championships, so we're coming up quite quickly here. Your goals obviously are extremely high. You have a great reputation, a great resume. Tell me how much you're looking forward to this postseason run and what you have to do to get yourself ready.
I am so excited for this postseason run. I feel like I am right where I need to be, other than a few little things that we need to keep working on. But I'm looking to go win a state title, and I've got really high goals set for myself for the rest of this season, and I I feel like I'm in a very good spot physically and wrestling wise that we're in a perfect position to go achieve the goals that I have set for myself.
Absolutely. Nate, just to get off wrestling for a minute. I know you were clearing off snow. What's your snow day been like at least these last couple days? How much snow you got to shovel?
Oh, we probably got close to 1.5 feet up here at Honesdale. been quite a lot.
Yeah.
We've shoveled twice. We shoveled and plowed twice yesterday, and then got up and did it again this morning, and it's been a lot since we got home from Coal Cracker.
Yeah, and you have to be careful too, because that shoveling snow, Joe, I know you're not familiar with that as a laborious activity.
Come on now.
But you can hurt your back quite easily shoveling snow. Am I right, Nate?
Oh yeah, it was pretty heavy for being a light, cold, fluffy snow. It was pretty heavy with that much out there.
Absolutely. Right. Hey, Nate, now do you do, you don't seem like a guy who takes a day off. What do you do today to train? Is it like Rocky? Do you go out in the wilderness, or what what do you do to kind of train?
We got a lift in, and we're going to Madison, and still later we'll work our way through the snow, leave a little bit earlier, give ourselves a little extra time to get over there for practice at 6:30.
Dedication. I love it.
They're on the road.
Joby, you got anything else for Nate?
I do. I have to ask the traditional wrestling question.
Of course.
Nate, so Joe Baress is a huge film buff, okay? And I have been asking Athlete of the Week wrestlers for about 10 years now, going way back in the old radio show days. Have you ever seen the movie Vision Quest?
I have not.
Okay, so now what you're going to need to do, now I know you don't get a lot of free time based on what you're telling us, okay? But if you can carve out an hour and 45 minutes, all right? See what streaming service, or I know there's no Blockbuster videos anymore, but see if you can get your hands on a copy of Vision Quest. It was my introduction to the wrestling style that you had from when I was a youngster in the mid 80s. Now, we didn't have wrestling at my school, and quite honestly, I didn't have the courage to wrestle. But that movie, it will inspire you, Nate.
God, Nate, I'm sorry you had to endure that question. That's he asks it to every wrestler, so
it's all good.
Nate, ask your dad to find you Vision Quest.
All right, I'll do that.
He'll do it. All right, hey Nate, thanks for taking time to get off a shoveling, clearing the snow, and clearing out some time for us. We appreciate it, and hey, good luck the rest of the season, and be careful out there in the snow.
Thank you. You guys too.
Congratulations, Nate.
Thank you.
All right, that was Nate Schuman, our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week from Honesdale Wrestling.
Joe, don't you ever downplay the importance of every high school wrestler seeing Vision Quest.
Joby, I gotta be honest with you. I watched the big scene of that. Now I have still never seen the film either, which is wrong, and I'll admit it.
It's disheartening for me, Joe.
I've seen the big scene, and I do understand. I do understand the inspiration that comes for it, but some of the moves, some of the editing, Joby, I don't know, a little questionable.
Joe, it was 1985. It was CGI back then, okay? And a guy walking around with a handheld camera like you see now these high school students are at every event walking around. They have all this major technology. Back in the 80s, they were shooting films with a crank, for crying out loud.
And Joby, starring Matthew Modine from Stranger Things fame. So we should have.
I would argue that he is more famous for his ridiculously sappy role in The Dark Knight.
No, that's true. You're right. Absolutely. What a character arc as well.
Oh. He showed great courage and strength in Vision Quest, only to be yellow in The Dark Knight Rises.
That's
but he
right.
did come around.
He comes around and dies, unfortunately. But
yeah, he perishes in what was a storming of the enemy.
That's right. But hey, it's a great character arc, and Vision Quest. We should could Vision Quest sponsor us or something, or I think I think we should look into it.
I'm not so sure a movie can sponsor us.
That's true. The studio, maybe we'll reach out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're willing to delve out some money for us.
Absolutely.
Current state of Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. So Joby, just to get back to Nate. This kid, he's only a sophomore. He had an incredible season last season. Incredible. 45-6.
What's his weight class again?
He's at 114. He swings down to 107 sometimes as well. He did say Dominic's dealing with some injuries. Dominic is usually at 107. So he's kind of going back and forth. He wrestled lightweight at this Coal Cracker tournament. So,
right. Yeah. I continue.
Yeah. So district champion, regional champion down at Williamsport is really, really impressive. And, obviously didn't do as well at states as he would have liked to, but, we just learned he had strep throat. So, sometimes you can't help when you're just not healthy. So, he's just, and he's off to just such a great start, 36-1, winning this Coal Cracker. It's one of the premier tournaments. And so this is just a huge win. He's a monster on the mat. He's so fast and strong for how small he is. He's just, he's only a sophomore. There's just great things to come. And, I think he's going to do very, very well the rest of this season, obviously. So I'm very excited to see what he's got in store for us the rest of this season.
Should be a lot of fun following him, Joe. The only reason I wanted to point out what weight class he was in is because when he was talking about his delicious menu,
yeah,
I was ready to run right out and grab some rice cakes and broccoli.
Yep. Oh, absolutely, Joby. So
isn't that one of your 5 food groups? Broccoli, chicken wings, pizza.
Yeah. Except the broccoli usually comes with, Chinese or on a pizza,
Fortunately, I'm allergic to broccoli, so.
Is that right?
Well, I make that up, Joe.
Well played. I like it. So, Joby, we've obviously, as we've mentioned multiple times already, we do have the District 2 Class 3A and 2A team duels.
I believe you had that information online.
Exactly. So go straight to online if you haven't seen it yet. We've got all the seeds, but I will mention them right now. We're recording this Monday afternoon. It's 3:30. And the number 1 seeds for 3A and 2A. 3A is Hazleton area and 2A is Honesdale. The 2 seed in Class 2A is Hanover area, and the 2 seed in Class 3A is Wallenpaupack. So those will be the host sites for Wednesday's quarterfinal and semifinal rounds. The finals will be Saturday at 12:30 at the host sites. They're no longer at Pittston area. They had been for a while. They will be at the site of the highest seed remaining in Class 3A and 2A. So the matchups you're looking at are Honesdale will face Montrose, and Blue Ridge will face Valley View. Blue Ridge is the number 4 seed. Valley View is the number 5 seed. Montrose is the number 8 seed. Those will be at Honesdale, the quarterfinal round starting at 5:30. The winners will face off right after. It's scheduled for 7, but if it goes quickly, they'll roll right through them. So don't be late. So we also have in 2A, we've got Hanover area will face number 7 Berwick, and number 3 Tunkhannock will face number 6 Mid Valley. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to follow along, Joe.
I got you. In Class 3A, we've got Hazleton area will face number 8 North Pocono. We've got Wilkes-Barre area, the number 4 seed, taking on number 5 Pittston area. Those will all be at Hazleton area. And at Wallenpaupack, we'll have the Wallenpaupack facing number 7 Crestwood, and Abington Heights, number 3 seed, facing number 6 Delaware Valley. And like I said, at Wallenpaupack. Joby, the interesting thing about this, I know that I kind of made a quick comment about it last week, but the wrestling power rankings put Hazleton in Class 3A, put Hazleton area as the 1 seed and Wallenpaupack as the number 2 seed. The division champions in the Lackawanna League, Abington Heights, and in the Wyoming Valley Conference, Wilkes-Barre area, were the number 3 and the number 4 seeds. Wilkes-Barre beat Hazleton area to hand them their only loss of the season, and Abington beat Wallenpaupack this season to hand Wallenpaupack its only league loss. I know that the power rankings don't take into account just those meetings, but once again, the league championship, the league champions in both the Lackawanna League and the Wyoming Valley Conference don't end up getting the 1 or the 2 seed and have to travel. Joby, make it make sense for me.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
I just don't understand. So, I
don't know what I know the formula is the same for all the sports that they use, and every match counts. Every dual match counts, right?
Correct. Every dual.
So you're dealing with some interesting variables there, depending on who you schedule in the non-league.
Right.
And because, again, we do take score for a reason, and wins matter.
Right.
But you also don't get penalized if you're, based on who you're competing against. So you do, in a sense, if you're competing against only teams with poor records, that's going to hurt your power rating. So, look, Joe, in a sport like wrestling, and I say this all the time, too, about basketball, the only problem I have with basketball and football is that the impact it has on home court advantage, which I think does play a part there. It does in wrestling, too, I think, but you're dealing more with these head-to-head matchups in the weight classes.
Right.
So it should play itself out.
Well, that's what I'm always told, Joby. That's what I'm always told. That it should
but
play
I
itself out.
I do hear the arguments that your coaches will complain about. I understand them fully.
Yeah, this is, I feel like every year brings its unique flaw to the system, and this latest one is that Abington Heights beat Wallenpaupack and Wilkes-Barre beat Hazleton area to win division titles, and they are not the number 1 and the number 2 seeds. So that's just strange. I don't, and again, I'm not saying this to bash anybody. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I just think it needs to be. I just think we need to take a hard look at it. I really do, and I think that there needs to be some changes. Whether it's just a few people in the room and kind of just trying to use some common sense to make these seeds. It just makes no sense. I mean, there's already people, obviously I put that story out there. There's already people commenting, why are Abington and Wilkes-Barre, 3 and 4 seeds? That doesn't make any sense. You're not putting any weight on winning a league or on winning a league title. There's no, that is kind of meaningless here. And that to me just doesn't make any sense. Now in 2A, it seemed to generally work out, at least when it comes to the top 2 seeds. Honesdale's the best team in 2A, and it's not that close. Hanover is a very good team, and they won a division title. So those are your division title winners. Obviously, Blue Ridge is the 4 seed. They won Division 3 in the Lackawanna League. So, I don't have too much gripe with that, but 3A just doesn't really make no sense. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but, like you said, they still get to wrestle, so they can figure it out for themselves as far as, reaching it. But it feels kind of weird that those two teams won division titles, and it seemingly meant nothing to them.
I wouldn't say nothing, Joe.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say nothing. Again, it's
Right.
you have a good argument,
Mm-hmm.
and your division champions have a good argument.
Right. And
They'll
I'm not asking you to come and speak on behalf of,
I'm certainly not going to. I'm not going to. I'm never going to argue with you, Joe. You always win. So I'll stand in there firmly and say that they'll wrestle it out on the mats.
They'll wrestle it out on the mats, and it's going to be interesting. I feel like, in some past years you kind of see, who's we pretty much know who's probably going to win, and like I said, I wasn't trying to push Nate or anything, and he gave a great response to it, but I would be stunned if Honesdale didn't win Class 2A. They've already beaten Hanover area. So, I would be surprised if anyone put up a fight against Honesdale. They're just that good in Class 2A. 3A is very, very interesting. It with those top four, even top five, top six teams, you got Hazleton area is excellent. They have the two Benyo kids. They've got some really, really good wrestlers that could put up points. Wallen Paupack, obviously the defending champion, they're very good from top to bottom. Abington Heights, as I've seen and I've stated, you've got freshmen wrestling fantastic. Brady Full, he just had a great Coal Cracker tournament. Dakota Sandy didn't wrestle on Wednesday. Hopefully for them, they have him back this Wednesday. And obviously you have Mason Whitney, who also had a great Coal Cracker tournament, finished second. And so that's a great team. Wilkes-Barre area, they beat Hazleton area this year. Piston area's had some, I believe had a close match with Hazleton area that Hazleton was able to eke out. Delaware Valley, obviously Abington Heights beat them, but there were some matches that could have swung there. So they're a pretty solid team as well. 3A is just going to be a very, very interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure actually. I can't really predict. I haven't seen Hazleton in person. I've seen obviously Wallen Paupack and Abington Heights, so should be a great Wednesday, honestly, in 3A. And like you said, Joby, we'll see how it shakes out.
Absolutely, and you'll be busy covering it, Joe.
That's right. I'll be trekking to Wallen Paupack, so hopefully the roads will be clear by Wednesday.
Well, we have to hope, Joe. Believe me when I tell you now, this storm, while it was certainly impactful,
Yep.
We've had worse.
Yes.
And it did not reach the epic proportions that many had predicted, which comes as no surprise to me. But that being said, it is still extremely dangerous out there, and it's tough to clear these side roads and everything else. But I'm hoping, I was going to mention that to you earlier, that one thing that these wrestlers especially, you get them off their routine, and it certainly is frustrating for them. Basketball players are a little bit different. They like to have their routine as well, but I think, and especially the boys basketball players who are trying to kind of get themselves acclimated to this Monday, Thursday schedule.
Sure.
After doing the Tuesday, Friday routine for the first half of the schedule. So an extra day off here, might cool off some of the shooting and some of the execution or what you're more used to. But yeah, these winter conditions, Joe, they often impact these schedules, and you start getting things pushed back, and next thing you know, you'll be covering 2 events in one day.
Exactly. Oh, Joby.
I don't want that, Joe.
Well, more fun for you.
Yes.
And like you said, there's a lot of, obviously the schedule got wiped out today, and no one's playing today. But Joby, let's do that. Let's shift gears to basketball a little bit here.
If we must.
Yeah. What do we have to kind of look forward to this week? As obviously the schedule kind of has to figure itself out to get these games played. But what do you see? What do we have to look forward to this week?
Well, barring any other storms, now apparently the crack meteorologists of our country are saying that we're getting another one on Saturday.
That's what I hear as well.
So that'll be interesting to see, because a couple of the games that were scheduled for today have been moved to Saturday because, again, it's especially, when you're trying to do this Monday, Thursday, and the Tuesday, Friday, it's a challenge to get makeup dates.
Right.
And so there are a couple of games right now tentatively moved to Saturday, so we'll see how that happens. But where we're at, Joe, right now is we're at least on schedule. Today's the first day that the schedule's been kind of erased.
Right.
For a day. So everybody's played their, I believe, 9 games in their division, their minimum requirement. We're up to 9 now. Certainly Elk Lake is a game ahead because we have to send out congratulations to John Warnero, head coach at Elk Lake, with a big victory on Saturday. He picked up career win number 200 in his illustrious coaching career. What a great job he's done there as well. Won a bunch of division championships and was a 20-win season last year. And I think that they're 14-1 or 16-1 now.
16-1, yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just tremendous. And unfortunately, because Elk Lake is so far north of us here, you sometimes tend to forget how talented this team is. Now, Elk Lake is a part of a very tight race in Division Class 3A playoffs. I'll get into that in a second. But so we're into the second half of the season is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Right. And what do they play? 14 games. So we're all past game 8. Okay. I'm really interested to see how this second half of the season shakes out, because we had our first half completed and we had 3 undefeated leaders, not champions, Joe. We don't win titles anymore.
That's right.
So Abington Heights was unbeaten in the first half in Division 1, Dunmore in Division 2, and then Elk Lake, as we mentioned, in Division 3. So these teams will all play again head-to-head, just flipping locations. And that does create some interesting matchups. And we'll start Wednesday, I believe, is the most, interesting of this part of the early second half of the schedule, when Holy Cross plays at Old Forge. And the reason I bring this up is, as usual, Joe had been a member of the only Holy Cross team to lose to Old Forge, and I believe
that's right.
40 ties.
Yep.
But now Old Forge won the first meeting this year between the two teams. And Joe, your Holy Cross Crusaders are in a really interesting spot. Okay.
Yeah.
So they battled injuries throughout the first half of the year. They played a very difficult non-conference schedule. Holy Cross is sitting at 8-8 overall. And just in casual discussion, when I caught the Holy Cross Riverside game last week, which was, for your ticket dollar, well past the price, worth the price of admission. It was outstanding. Clearly Nico Antonacci's the best player. Brayden Rose is not a very distant second. He is a dynamic player. And when Holy Cross tried to shift its defense to try to slow those two guys down, Jared Jackson and Kyle Connor and Mikey Schimmelfennig, who's probably one of the best defensive players in the league, really answered the bell. And to Holy Cross's credit, though, with Adam Bedurka back in the lineup, Joe, he hit for 32 the other night.
Yeah.
It was an exciting game. So, but Holy Cross they're in a tough spot because they're going to be the 4 seed, it looks like, in the Class 3A playoffs. And that's going to make, that semifinal round a really tough challenge.
Yeah.
Really tough challenge. You're going to have to play either at Riverside or at Dunmore for the right to play in the final and get a chance to play at State. So, and Holy Cross also has to get some wins here in the second half, because the bitter rival Holy Redeemer is not far behind in the power rating standings to get that home game.
Right.
In that 5-4 matchup in the quarters. So we start Wednesday with that big matchup between Holy Cross and Old Forge. I think that's a really important game for Holy Cross.
Certainly.
And then we'll figure it out moving forward there for the rest of the week. I have to sit down and really break it down. But again, the schedule is going to be spread across the entire week, right through Saturday. So
right.
We'll see how it all we'll figure out. But we have some real good matchups. And Joe, you mentioned we had no movement except for Elk Lake and Delaware Valley in the Times-Tribune top 10 poll this week. Dunmore's number 1, Riverside 2, Abington Heights 3. Those are the 3 teams we talked about already. And then we had Scranton Prep 4, Valley View is 5, Old Forge 6. Elk Lake moved up that 1 spot to 7. DV is 8. Holy Cross, again, 8 and 8. I know people are going to look at that and say, wow. But yeah, number 9. Very good team, especially with Bederka back in the lineup. And then Susquehanna is number 10. So, again, how many games did I say we have played already, Joe? 8?
8, yes.
Yeah, so we've got about 6 left. 3 weeks?
Yep. There you go. It'll be districts will be here before you know it.
Thanks for letting me know, Joe.
in case you didn't know.
I'll try to make myself available.
Yeah, mark it down. Mark it down on your calendar.
I have it on my calendar somewhere.
That's right. Joby, I'd also be remiss if I didn't bring up that it's not every day when your area teams are featured as the top play on SportsCenter, and that's exactly what happened on Tuesday night. Brayden Canavan's steal and heave from half court buzzer beater to beat Old Forge last week. That's just what a moment for him. What a moment for the team. Always a great, just a great moment. No matter what you end up accomplishing in basketball, just a very, very cool thing to be featured on SportsCenter. I've never, I've hashtagged SC Top 10 before. Then all of a sudden the ESPN sports desk reaches out and says, "Can we use your video, Joby, on ESPN?" And obviously it wasn't the only one, and we weren't the only ones to hashtag SC Top 10, but pretty cool to get a response and then to see, a team featured SportsCenter Top 10, let alone being the number 1 play of the night. You were there, Joby. Pretty incredible, huh?
Joe, it was a great game. It was neat to be a part of it in terms of just being there on site.
Yeah.
Because clearly it's one of the most viewed videos I have on the work Facebook page. And, just to have been able to see it live, Brayden Canavan, just an incredible play, anticipating the pass and tipping it away from Logan Fanning at half court, just inside of half court, and launching a desperation heave, and it swished. Sometimes you see those shots bank.
Right.
This was a really, really excellent shot, and it was so electric in the gym at the time. And then, of course, you get the kids storming the court. And, it was neat to see it on ESPN. I don't watch ESPN regularly, Joe, for obvious reasons, but I was happy to see you make that effort, and I want to thank you for helping our local kids get noticed. I take no credit for that because you did all the work, the legwork on your end. And no, it was pretty neat. You feel with every great moment like that, though, and I've only been in 30 years, Joe, I've only been a part of a couple of them.
Yeah.
I remember J.C. Shaw. You may remember this. He hit a half quarter at the Lackawanna College Student Union in a playoff game, a little overtime game, if I'm not mistaken, against Scranton.
Yep. That
also made SportsCenter, those highlight reel.
Yep.
And, there haven't been too many that I've been a part of or I've seen live. And certainly none with this kind of the way it played out, with an inbound pass being stolen and then launching the shot and it going. But great to have our kids get some national exposure, to say the least. But with every great moment like that, you kind of feel the heartbreak of the Old Forge kids. They played so hard the game was tied.
Yep.
And so it wasn't as if they had lost the game, lost a lead, but they certainly lost the game. And you feel for those kids because they played hard too. But it was a great moment for sure.
I was thinking that myself, Joby, as I was watching the clip on SportsCenter. It was just like, poor Old Forge. But
I got to be honest, I felt about as bad for the Old Forge kids as I felt for the Los Angeles Rams and their fans yesterday. So that's what we are there.
Yes, absolutely. We're actually almost at the 50-minute mark, Joby. Geez, I guess I've just been talking like crazy. But I do want to touch on quickly. We had some other really good performers, really, really good candidates this week, Joby, for Athlete of the Week.
And Joe, let me apologize. I forgot to send you my nominees.
Oh, that's okay. Joby, that's okay.
But you were able to take cover for me, so I appreciate that.
I thought that's not a problem at all. I thought that, starting with Scranton Prep swimmer Lukas Iannone, he wins the 200-yard freestyle in a time of 1 minute 44.75 seconds to set a school record, topping the old mark of 1 minute 45.98 seconds, set in 1997 by Clint Cornell. Joby, former state champion. There you go. I mean, that's, to put it into perspective, Joby, I was 7 when that record was set.
Testing out that first Bic razor, if I recall.
You hit the nail on the head, Joby. You hit the nail on the head. So I mean that I remember. I forget what day that happened. It might have been Tuesday, but I remember that happened. It stuck out immediately. I'm just like, okay, Lukas is absolutely a candidate. And we also had another very good basketball performance this week. Really impressive, actually. Packy Doherty, who's been obviously he's been on the radar for a while now. He had 89 points this week in total in 3 games. Scored 25 in a win over Walnut-Paupack, 29 in a win over Delaware Valley, and 35 in a win over Executive Education. I think he had 15 3-pointers too in the three wins. So impressive by him. And then last and definitely not least, Addison Kilmer. Obviously, again, she's been a candidate, and we all know about Addison Kilmer, but 77 points in 2 wins. She had 41 in a win over Blue Ridge, and she had 36 in a win over Carbondale area. She now has 1,973 points in her career. I don't know how much more we could say about Addison Kilmer, but it's just incredibly impressive nonetheless. So, there were just a few candidates from last week that I definitely wanted to mention here.
Absolutely. Addison Kilmer, I think, too, Joe. Either her 3rd or 4th 40-plus point game this year. So,
Yeah. Exactly. Super impressive. Let me just go over the girls' top 10 while we're here. Interesting enough, this, like you said, with the boys, the girls probably stayed pretty steady for the first time this year. Actually, North Pocono number 1, Scranton Prep number 2, Dunmore 3, Abington 4, Scranton 5, Valley View 6, Honesdale 7, Mountain View 8, Delaware Valley 9, and Holy Cross sneaks into the top 10 at number 10 after a nice win over Riverside last week. So that's our girls' top 10.
Joe, tentatively scheduled to be in action on Tuesday, the Lackawanna League. I didn't get a chance to see if any of those games have been moved, but I'm sure that a couple have been. So
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out. But certainly, Holy Cross making its debut, and Scranton and Valley View flip spots. They're right top 10.
Right, exactly. So, Joby, anything else you want to touch on high school wise before we get to your NFC championship game?
Well, let's just quickly have people check out my Facebook page.
Yeah.
My work Facebook page, Joby Fawcett, Times-Tribune Sports. We have some kids, some basketball players were kind enough to texted me some photos of them shoveling yesterday in the snow. So we put together a nice video montage of that. And thanks for the great cooperation of their coaches. Their coaches were able to get those photos to me, and we got them posted online for everybody as the kids battled the storm as well. We have a lot of information on there. The scoring leaders are available for people to look through on the Times-Tribune.com. So the links will be there as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Joby puts up about 10 posts for every one post that I put up on Instagram. So it's it's pretty impressive. Go there. There's a lot of information.
A lot of information for you, Joe.
Exactly. So, I mean, let me first mention. I just thought of this. The New England Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, and
Joe, I'm so happy for their fans. They've been so depressed for so long. It's been a real long wait for them to finally reach that pinnacle of championship level for professional sports teams. So a big shout out to all the fans who have really kind of
stood in there,
endured this real long drought of appearances in championship games. So much luck to the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. I know they've been quietly determined to kind of exercise all the ghosts of the past, and
I love it. So I think it's a big deal to see a Facebook post from you about a Patriot. Obviously, CJ Dippre is heading to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Joe, he was on the sideline for the AFC Championship game, inactive, but he's a member of the 53-man roster. You can only dress 47 players for a game, but he is on the active roster. He does practice all week with the team. And look, being a Lakeland graduate myself, the community here is extremely proud that CJ Dippre is, first of all, an NFL player, but now he is. He played in the SEC championship game and won an SEC championship at Alabama.
Yep.
He played in the Rose Bowl, and now he's getting an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. So we want to wish him the best of luck.
Absolutely. And Joby, let's talk a little bit about your Rams. I was rooting hard for them, and I don't know, Joby, just that muff punt was an absolute killer. But Joe, you could give me your perspective.
Well, my perspective is I used to be a punt returner, and let me say this: the job is not easy.
Not easy. No.
A lot of people piling on that young man, and I will admit that my remote control was fired almost directly through the drywall when he did that. But it is extremely difficult, especially with somebody bearing down on you.
Yes.
And he did lose his footing. Okay, so it's easy to pile on a play that happens like that where the ball is turned over and immediately the Seahawks score a touchdown, because it's clear after 20 weeks of football this year that the Los Angeles Rams do not defend the pass in any way, shape, or form. They cannot cover any receivers. I have seen very few NFL games in my lifetime, let alone most recently, where receivers are just running free in the secondary without a defender within yards of them. So, and the proof of that is, Joe, that the Los Angeles Rams made Sam Darnold look like he was the MVP of the league.
Yep.
And look, Joe, here's the thing: there's always ebbs and flows of an NFL game, but to me, as a Ram fan, the blame falls on the shoulders of defensive coordinator Chris Shula, who I think is so overrated as a defensive coordinator. Because the Rams just don't do anything. The Rams rush for. This is not the days of the fearsome foursome where teams are running the ball every down.
Right.
You have to rush the passer. You have to throw some exotic blitz packages at these guys. You can't let NFL quarterbacks back there with plenty of time to navigate, especially when your guys can't cover.
Right.
You got to figure out a way to bring some pressure and unnerve the guy back there. But Shula, I think his scheme is bad. The personnel is bad enough. His schemes are worse. And on top of it, the special teams were bad all year. I think you recall me saying back when the Rams lost to the Eagles on a couple of blocked field goal attempts.
Yeah. Yep.
That game is going to cost you.
Yep.
because you should have won that football game. And special teams throughout the course of the entire season were awful for the Rams. But also, a lot of the blame has to go on the shoulders of Sean McVay. Once he has been the coach now, I believe, for 10 years, brought great success, brought a Super Bowl to the Rams. Very, very happy about what he's done to kind of rejuvenate the fan base and bring a very exciting brand of football to the Los Angeles Rams. But for a guy who is kind of defined as the wonder kid, and he's 40 now, so he's no longer a kid.
Right.
But this great innovator of everything. I just want him to be good at math. It's 31-26, Joe.
Yep.
Kicking an extra point, being down 4 is no better than being down.
Yeah. Yep.
May as well go for 2 because being down 3 is a lot different than being down 5 or 4.
It's a great
lot.
point.
So he chooses to kick the extra point, which is this complete ludicrosity, as my brother likes to say. It's ridiculous. How you can't. I know you're caught up in the game. You're busy flexing and everything else on the sideline, yelling and screaming and shaking hands. You had plenty of time. They challenged the play.
Yeah,
Go for 2.
True.
Fourth and 4 from the 7. You absolutely have to kick a field goal there. Go down 31-30. Hope your defense can make a stop, and this way a field goal wins the game for you. If you go with that 4th down, you don't score a touchdown. The deflation in your team's emotions, you can't overcome that. Seattle's clearly going to run the clock out at that point. So a couple of mental errors there by Sean McVay as well. So, listen, Joe, it was a great season. I hate getting to the NFC Championship game because it's really the one game that you don't recover from.
Yeah.
You really don't. I mean, you're one step away from playing in the Super Bowl. You just can't recover. So it was a great season. Hopefully Matt Stafford will come back next year, but the Rams have a lot of holes to fill. A lot of holes.
No, I hear you, man. It definitely was a good season, and I'm not going to add too much because I kind of felt the same way. But man, I must, I've got to say your point about they can't cover anybody. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba is a great receiver. Oh my God, he was wide open. Like
Joe, Penn
every
State did a
play.
better job covering him.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy how wide open it was. Like they forgot he was on the field every single play.
Right.
So it's a brutal loss, and
that's coming from a defense that only rushes 4. So there's 7 in coverage.
Right.
The guys are still running around wide open. I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Joby, any thoughts on the Broncos Patriots game? It was it's a weird game, being that the way it started and then the weather conditions just kind of pick up, and it's weird game.
I know we're short on time, but I will encourage every NFL football coach to get out of this crazy notion of going for 4th down and short.
Agreed.
You absolutely must take points, especially in a playoff game. Sean Payton certainly regrets that move now because the weather shifted and it made it a totally different game.
Yeah.
He was going to have a hard time winning with Jarrett Stidham as quarterback because he's so limited. There's a reason he's a backup.
Right.
So, again, you know how I feel about the New England Patriots. I'm happy for CJ Dippre, Lakeland graduate, and if you have a chance to be in the Super Bowl, I will never forgive the New England Patriots for the 2001 loss.
Yeah.
Super Bowl by the Rams, and then to in one of the worst, ugliest Super Bowls of all time, the Patriots and Tom Brady beat the Rams. I just can't. So you can enjoy the game all you want, Joe. You sit down with your cheeseburgers and your chicken wings and your Domino's pizza, whatever else you kind of put together. I think I'll watch Midsummer Murders on streaming.
That's fair, Joby. That's completely fair. What a great way to wrap up the episode.
Way to get me fired up on a Monday, Joe.
I know, and now I'm just leaving. Now I'm just leaving you, leaving you to stew in it. But Joby, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Nathan Schuman, our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, for fitting us in today. Yeah, keep following us at SportsTT on X, Times-Tribune Sports on Facebook and Instagram. Follow Joby's Times-Tribune Facebook page, Joby Fawcett, the Times-Tribune, and go to our website, thetimes-tribune.com/sports, and subscribe here to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, even Amazon Music, and of course where we record all the episodes through the Podbean app. Yeah, the snow's falling, but